Hello ladies and gentlemen, in today's video I'm going to talk about how my first half polls went for 4.0. I believe I already made a polling plans video on my 3 main accounts, yes 3 now. I decided to introduce an E2 Firefly account into the mix because I just like her that much, right? And I want you guys to know how it's gone on all of them, except for my Anoxa one, because believe it or not, my Anoxa account isn't pulling anyone on the first half, right? He is waiting for Sari on the second half, currently sitting on about 130 pulls, right? So, how did the pulls go on my Firefly account, and how did they go on my main account? So, my main account was going for the Elation team, right? That is the goal of my main account, is to get the mono Elation team with Silverwolf. So this of course means, you guys already know I'm like supremely confident about this. I want to get Yao Guang because I'm so confident she's going to stay in that team, right? So Yao Guang I did get. I won the 50-54, absolutely amazing, felt great. However, I wasn't satisfied, right? I wanted to test my greed. And so on stream, I believe either on my last stream or my stream before that one, I did greed for the E1 Yao Guang, and I did get her, right? I did not lose the 50-50. Now, does this get in the way of my chances of guaranteeing Sparksy? Yes, I can nearly guarantee her, however, I can't guarantee her. So if I am unlucky enough, I would be forced to spend money to guarantee my Sparksy, or I just have to wait for her rerun until 4.3. However, I've decided to take that chance, hope I win my next 50-50, or even if I get a single early by like 20 pity, allowing me to guarantee getting Sparksy within the rest of this patch, right? This way, I have my Sparksy, I have my E1 Yao Guang, which by the way, the E1 is a pretty significant damage jump in Elation teams. And then I have 4.1 easy skip, obviously it's only Asheville, and then straight into 4.2, get my Silverwolf, and just call it a day with the team, right? So far, polls have gone good on my main account because I haven't lost any 50-50s so far, right? Now, how about my Firefly account? Now, you guys may be asking if you're like being newly introduced to this account because I've only introduced it recently. The goal of this account is to get a full best in slot E2 Firefly team, right? Because even though this Firefly is E2 S1, I have no Fugue and I have no Dahlia, which is kind of sad, right? However, of course, there shouldn't be any break character reruns until 4.2. The reason for this is most of the break characters reran in 3.8. Firefly, Lingshaw, Fugue, Dahlia, the fastest these characters could rerun is on the Annie, being 4.2, and in my opinion, that is when they are probably going to put a Dahlia rerun, right? So, because I have so much time, right? I have so much time without needing to pull anything. I decided, because I already have a few dot units built on this account, E0, S1, Swan, E1, Kafka, I will try my luck with Heislands, right? So, I'm going to be honest, in terms of 50-50 luck, pretty bad, right? Pretty fucking bad. However, in terms of earlies, pretty lucky, right? So, I was already on a guaranteed for E0 Heislands, but I got it slightly early, right? Or no, sorry. I got E0 Heislands at Soft Pity, and then when I kept pulling trying to get her E1, I did get in early, I believe at like 50 to 60 pity. However, oh wait, no, 40 pity. Yes, 40 pity. However, unfortunately, I lost the 50-50 again, right? So, then after this, I did a 10 pull on my last stream because I just finished doing the story on this account today, and in that 10 pull, I got an early Heislands at about 56 pity, right? So getting her E1 has technically costed me about 97 pulls, and the E0 was already guaranteed soft pity. So even though it isn't technically lucky, right, I actually used more pulls than I should have, it is lucky in the sense that I was able to save myself a significant amount of pulls, and it's not as bad as it could have been. So with that said, I now have a E1, technically S1 Heislands using Swan's Cone. For those who don't know, Swan's Cone or Heislands Cone, they are actually very similar in performance for Heislands. I have a S5 tutorial Kafka on 157 speed and Eagle set, and I have a fast Swan. Now yes, I've heard from a few people that it's better to prioritize attack on dot these days apparently. However, I did not know this. I just searched up a guide because I've never played or looked into dot in my life, and I saw most of them wanted high levels of speed, which is what I decided to go for. Right. So I then finally tried this team on this account against MOC, and they got a 1 cycle on both against the new Sam boss and as well as Cocolia, which was awesome. Genuinely. Keep in mind, I don't know how to play this team optimally at all. I am basically just spamming shit. So getting that performance from a team I don't really get at all, and I'm running with sustain, is pretty cool, especially considering I do think my triple dot team will probably get a decent buff, at least sustain team wise, when Huohuo ends up getting her buff Nova Flare in 4.2. You guys may say, you know, this might not be worth it. However, the problem is this account's only premium sustain really is Dan Heng PT, right? This is the only one. I'm basically stuck with Dan Heng PT and Gallagher. I guess Luocha, but like, let's be honest, I don't want to use that, right? So being able to free up Dan Heng PT, put him on my free-to-play Archer team, because of course I picked the buff Sparkle on this account over anybody else. Already had E1 Kafka, by the way. And as well as being able to then use Huohuo on the triple dot team, which I assume will end up being their best in slot, would be amazing. So goal for this account is to get Firefly, or sorry, not Firefly, Dahlia and Fugue around the anniversary, and hopefully get Huohuo as well. I know that sounds like a hefty ask, but in my opinion it isn't. We have nearly 40 days left of this patch still. We then have 4.1 completely I can build up pulls on, and then 4.2 I can also build up pulls on. Best case scenario for me, Dahlia's in 4.3 instead of 4.2, which means I can then guarantee all of these characters without issue at all. However, knowing Hoyo and how much they want to milk reruns and they want people to spend money on the anniversary, my guess is they will go all out on the triple banner reruns going on the anniversary, and I will have to hopefully get a decent bit of luck to afford Huohuo, Fugue, and as well as Dahlia. Right. So that is how the polling plans went for both of my accounts who pulled on the first half. Main account got E1 Yao Guang after greeting, won both 50-50s, amazing. And this account has gotten a E1 Heislands with now an E1 Kafka and E0 S1 Black Swan. It's an amazing performing team. Keep in mind, my Black Swan isn't even perfectly built yet, right? Because I'm using Swan's Cone on Heislands and tutorial on Kafka, I'm currently using Kafka's light cone just like to pass by, right? However, the thing is, Black Swan, yeah, right here. So Black Swan has an increased damage dealt by all allies by an amount equal to 60% of Black Swan's effect hit rate, up to a maximum damage increase of 72%. I am not taking advantage of this almost at all because I stupidly built Black Swan on speed, which I now regret and will rework, and this light cone doesn't give any effect hit rate. So my Black Swan currently is on like 80% something EHR. Yeah, 87% EHR, which is not taking advantage of this damage boost trace like at fucking all. So to think that my dot team is technically still weak and underperforming, even in that with sustain team one cycling everything, makes me very, very happy. For those wondering, the second team I'm currently using temporarily is Archer with Sparkle and a Silver Wolf. You guys might have caught a little earlier when I was in this menu. It is an E1 Silver Wolf too. If she has a conveniently placed rerun in the future, I may consider grabbing the E2. However, until that day comes, not for now. Now, the reason I say this is, I do think Acheron is going to get Nova Flared in this version, right? I know this is like a pretty big topic. People are mad that Firefly is the one who just got a teammate, is performing incredibly well, and now she's going to get a Nova Flare buff. I understand, right? If you are a main of a different character, and especially someone as popular as Acheron, there isn't even the excuse to be used of, oh, this character isn't as popular. Sure, Firefly is the most popular character in HSR's history. However, Acheron is also like right on that Firefly tier of popularity for this game, right? So with all that being said, this account does have an E0S1 Acheron, meaning if she does get Nova Flared, I will 100% probably go into her Eidolons, and I will 100% pick up an E2 Silverwolf if the chance ever presents itself, because Acheron is one of my favorite characters in the entirety of this game. I simply don't have the energy to invest into her currently, and since I know she's not getting Nova Flared, at least in the first half of version 4, I would rather focus on my E2 Firefly. Love you all. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night. Peace out.